Greetings, shooters and reloaders. So this is going to be step 3 in the reloading process, and this is going to be about case trimming. So why do you need to trim a case? You've just resized it. Shouldn't it be back to the correct size? Well, it is, but when you resize it, you generally stretch the brass. So now the case is going to be longer than it was to begin with. And every time you resize it, that's going to happen to some extent. If you full length resize, that is. Neck sizing is different, but that's another topic I'll get to in another video. But so how do you know if it needs to be resized? Well, if you look in a reloading manual, this one happens to be Western Powder Company's hand loading guide. And if we look in there, I'm doing 3006 here. So if we look for 3006, and we look over here under the specifications, and it says max case length 2.494, okay? And so let's measure that. So we'll take a pair of calipers. Now I've set this already to 0.2494, and we put the case in there, and as you can see, it is too long. It won't fit in there. So this case is definitely too long. Now, why is that important? Well, too long is going to cause problems with bullet seating, depth, crimping. You could end up with a situation where it's so long that the case mouth ends up hitting up too far forward in the chamber, where it actually hits up against the lands and grooves and then compresses too tight on the bullet. That's going to increase pressures, and as I've discussed before, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. So if you increase the pressure, that pressure has to go somewhere, and if it can't go out the end of the barrel, it's coming back in your face. So keep that in mind. So case trimming is very important. So there's 2 methods I'm going to show you on case trimming. One of them is very inexpensive. I forgot my drill. Hang on just a minute. So one of them requires a drill. Now cordless would be better, but unfortunately my cordless drill broke. So I got to use a cord, but the process is the same. So it consists of basically these 2 pieces, and these are made by Lee Precision. You can get them at almost any place that sells reloading equipment. So you have the proper size here for 3006. Put your case in there, tighten it. Now I'm going to chuck it in the drill. All right. And now we take this. Now your case has to be deprimed to do this. So prior to this, you want the case to be resized and deprimed, okay? So then what you're going to do is you put this in, and that determines the length that we're going to trim it to. And then you just turn the drill on. And sometimes it comes unchucked. And that's what I don't like about this method. But it is the cheapest method to do. Try it again. I don't know why that's not cutting. I haven't used this in a long time. Have I got the right one in there? Yep, 3006. There you go. Now I can feel it cut, and it comes unchucked again. So that's not the method that I care to use, but let's see if we trimmed off any. Not too much. Yep. Okay, so now it'll fit in there, just barely. So we took a little bit off, but not really enough in my opinion. So I'm going to show you the method that I prefer using. And if I'm just doing a few cases, I can do it that way. But if I'm doing a large number, this is the way I prefer to trim. So this is called a Lee Quick Trim, and I like it. It's a lot easier. So you need this quick trim die body, and you need this as the cutter device. So you screw the die into your press. And then you need to have the correct shell holder in here. Take your cartridge, put it in there. Then you take this as the cutter, and this goes down inside. There we go. Push up on the ram, push down on this, and turn. And you can feel it cut, and it'll take anywhere from, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 turns maybe, it depends. But you can kind of feel when it cuts and when it stops. And you can see the shavings that it just took off. Maybe you can see it, I don't know, maybe you can't. Well, anyway, it took some shavings off. So let's measure it now. Okay, see how easy that fits in there now? Big difference. So that took it down to the correct length. The other thing it also did, what I like about this system, is it also chamfers the inside and the outside of the case mouth. Otherwise, if it doesn't do that, you end up with kind of a burr on there. And when you're using the other method, like I showed you using the drill and this system, after you trim it, you need to take this deburring tool, and while when the cartridge is still chucked in the drill, I spin it and I use this, and that chamfers the inside. Turn it around like this, and it'll chamfer the outside as well. And you just want to take any rough edges or burrs off. But what I like about this quick trim die is it does all that at once, so it's just one easy motion. Now the only downside to it is you have to buy one of these quick trim die bodies for every caliber. So I've got one for 30-06, I've got one for 308 and 223, and I might have a couple others, I can't remember. So for me, if it's cartridges I'm going to load a large quantity of, and those cartridges I do load a large quantity of, I like to use this quick trim die. I forget what this cost offhand, but they're not too expensive. The die bodies are about $10 each, roughly. But it's, in my opinion, the best way to trim if you're on a single stage press like this. So I guess that's all there is to it. One other thing I wanted to mention, I don't know if I touched on this in the last video, but if you have any cases that are military cases have a crimp for the primer. They put a crimp in there to hold the primer in under combat conditions. And you can use this reamer, and you just run it in there and ream it out, and that usually will take the crimp out. They also make a special tool just for that, but I found that using a reamer like this works just fine. So that's all I have for now. So good shooting, keep your powder dry, and we'll see you on the range.